Okay, so, alright. There might be some delay between the audio that's being played and what my voice is saying, but I think for the most part this should be solid. I really hope it is. I don't know. So, like, harmor. What an interdasting instrument this is. Maybe I should turn on, like, the keyboard so I can do a little bloop. Okay, so when you first open harmor, it loads a preset that's either this, which I like. I like this because it's the basic preset default. But sometimes it loads like one of these ones. I forget which one, and I hate what it sounds like. I'm just like, this is not good. Transplug's probably good. That sounds convincingly like a transplug. I would recommend just going when you're first starting out. Just go to presets and just like click on any one of them, like transplug, like we just went to that one. And I'm gonna turn it down a bit because it seems like it's loud. And just like, God, there's so much to get into here. I just realized that. Where do I even begin with harmor? So, anyway, when you're first starting out, just seriously open this thing up, find a preset, and just like play around with some of the parameters. Like, listen to what happens when I drag this unison thing down. And then when I drag this chorus thing down. And like pluck. You can hear that, right? You can hear it. Yeah. So, and that's fun for a while, but like, if you really want to learn this thing, like, really what I always start with are these two things up here. Basically, all of the sound that comes out of harmor are built upon these two waveforms. And I believe this is what an oscillator is. And I believe that harmor is a single oscillator additive or subtractive or both additive and subtractive synth or something. I don't know the real words for any of this stuff, but like the magic starts up here. Like the sound that I'm generating right now is this waveform. And this waveform, there's some kind of fancy name for why the waveform doesn't show up as a saw wave here, but is also a saw wave. They've like set this up in some logarithmic way where this line right here is actually a saw wave. And in order to get a sine wave, you have to like drag this down like that and make this down, put this down. And you see the wave up here changed to a sine wave. And a really simple sound to make is a sub, because you just go here to frequency, drag down 4. And then you have like the basic sub, like the really clean sub that pretty much every song needs, I think, at its foundation. But like, yeah, so harmor starts up here, and the cool thing is you can switch between like square and sine, or go right in the middle. And you can also, here's one of the main features of harmor that makes it kind of a beast in synthesis in general, is that you can right click almost everything on here, and click edit articulator. And what the articulator is it's this little window here. This is where the magic happens. This and this envelope, basically. This is the category it's in. This is the subcategory, I suppose. And you can control what these knobs do over a set period of time by using an envelope. And you draw it in just by right-clicking. Pretty basic. And clicking this button. This clicks it on. If this is off, no envelope. If this is on, there's an envelope. And now you can see it's going from a square down to a sine. The sound is warping. It's like modulating. And that's kind of nice as like a... Like as the note progresses, it becomes a sine, so it becomes less like in your face, less harsh. Okay, so you start out with this up here, all right? I skip blur, skip tremolo, skip harmonizer, skip prism, all right? This chunk right here This is for later. All right. This is for way later. All right. This stuff here, you don't really have to worry about so much. You won't be using it an extreme amount. Just to go over like what these are, you can add a sub harmonic by dragging this all the way up. And you can see what that did over here, which is why I like Harmor, because it has a built-in visual display or whatever it is. Like this adds a sub harmonic. I think it's like an octave lower than the note you're pressing. This adds a mid harmonic or something, and this adds like a high harmonic. You can hear it's this one right here. So these are useful for tweaking and shit. Harmonic protection, I honestly have no idea what this does. Clip, I sometimes play around with this, but not usually. And it's like all of this stuff is kind of for later. What I think you want to be focusing on right now is this window right here. Like, I'll give you this. It's a collection of waveforms, and you can drag in any of these waveforms, and it'll make a different wave sound. Like, damn, lots of variation. You can choose whatever sound you want to start out with. This one sounds a little corny. That one's too high frequency. I kind of liked one of the ones I picked up randomly, but I forget where it was. That one's a little too... That one I could work with. Let's hear its opposite. And the cool thing is you can play around with this, and it fades, subtracts, multiplies, maximums. It basically takes the first waveform and does weird shit to it, and turns it into a new waveform. Anyway, what is a good waveform? I kind of like that one. Oh, I really like this one. It's a bit high, so let me... Pitch controls are here. Basically, these two orange things, if you drag them up, they go down an octave. Kind of counterintuitive, dragging up to go down an octave. But as you can see, we're going down. The white ones, you drag up to go up, which makes a lot more sense. Up an octave, 4, up another octave, 8, sorry, your ears, rest in peace, your ears. It's kind of tricky getting to 8. You can go all the way up to 16 times the fundamental. That's really high. Right now I'm playing a note that's above the threshold of human hearing. So I'm going to go back down to 1. And detune does really cool things if you play around with this knob right here. This number here, if you make it go up. Okay, so let's turn the... Look at how much it changes the sound. I really like what that sounds like. This sounds like old Neo Geo games. So just by playing around with this and this, the sound has already come out. Pretty interesting. I would use this in a song. If I okay. Now I'm sorry, this looks scary as shit, but this is where most of the everything of Harmor happens. It starts from up here, it goes through here, the pitch, and then the main fucking dope shit happens here. And this is literally scary to open up because this is everything that you can articulate in Harmor at once. And you'll get better at looking through this and knowing where everything is over time. But for now, just don't freak out and look at these 4 things right here. Now, especially volume. Volume is the king because you go to volume, click on, and suddenly you have control over the dynamics. So I can make this into a plucky sound that has a bit of a release. And now it's much more usable as a sound. I would use this sound personally in something, and I think I'm going to actually save it just in case I fuck up this preset. I like how I literally have my folder for presets is called Sophie. I'm in love with her. So let's save this as I'm gonna save it as Neo Geo 2001. Neo Geo 2001, boys. Okay. Neo Geo 2001, boys, instead of sad boys. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry. I don't mess around with the stuff. Okay, I'm not going to. I'm also going to flatten this out. Like, put it back into its default settings so we're not doing too much. Oh, as you can see, detune does a lot. It really does a lot. That would be really cool if you could do that live in a song. Ah, man, I might do that in this song I'm making right now, just because that sounds really cool. I would just record myself, like, on the master while playing around with that. Now, beyond volume shaping here, beyond the oscillators here, you have the filters. Now, the filters are just filters, but you can choose from a lot of filters here. Like, Classics low pass is what I use the most. Like, here, filter, here we go. Let's just filter it. It's just being filtered. Just a filter. Like, you wanna, if you wanna modulate any of these parameters, I don't know if you already know this. I don't know how new you are to Ableton. You just go to here, click configure, and then drag it around. And then you're able to automate it in Ableton, show automation. So, like, there you have, like, that's quite a lot. Like, you can do a lot with this. If you change the saw wave, if you change the detune, you change the pitch, change the volume, and change the filter, suddenly you're working with sounds that you can more or less use in your music, and pretty quickly too. But let me do something interesting. This is kind of nice. It sounds like a Rhodesy, like. I don't have my real keyboard. Let me just play around with it a little bit. So, I'm not very good at keyboard, as you can tell, but anyway, so I think that it helps to go into it thinking about what kind of sound you want to make, because obviously, like, you know, if you change the volume, holy shit, listen how different this is. Or like actually pleasing chord, maybe like an F7. That was an F9, sorry. And if I take the filter off it, and see, that's right off the bat, like, that's kind of 8-bitty. It's kind of nice, kind of like, you know, chiptune-y. May I draw your attention to the Unison. The Unison is beautiful, and it's beautiful because you can have up to 9 voices, which some VSTs let you have 12. Some even go up to like 32 or something crazy like that. But we've got 9 voices to work with. In real life, if you have 2 people singing with each other, if you have 2 violins that are playing with each other, it sounds kind of bad if they're playing the same melodic lines, because like I said, in traditional music, you're trying to make the littlest amount of mistakes as possible, but you're still constantly making mistakes, just not enough to be noticed. So, like, the pitch differences in each note of 2 violinists playing will be from 2 to 5 cents. What? Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. So, like, they will vary the pitch of each individual note. Is like, imagine handcrafting every single note of a synth. And I've done this before. It is absolutely painstaking and awful, but it teaches you a lot about real instruments, because each note has a slightly different pitch. And the beautiful thing about harmor is you can literally do that by going into pitch, clicking random mapping and just dragging this down ever so slightly, dragging this up ever so slightly. And there you have it. You have that real life instrument. Like each of those notes is, and if I keep doing this, let's hear how bad it can get. It can get pretty dicey. That's supposed to be a major chord. Let's see how much we can push this. Like, I guess you could get some really cool effects randomly mapping pitch like that, but you want to keep it like 2 to 5 cents. And you can zoom in like this. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, see, it's just like a little bit down. Like, I'm seriously, like, literally just put it down like that much from the center and then this much above. And I don't know if you can hear that. I just heard that. It started off with a fundamental that was slightly below where it should have been, or slightly above. I couldn't tell. But anyway, with real instruments, each note is slightly different. And if you have two violins playing with each other, it usually doesn't sound good because the pitch differences are noticeable enough that, let me show you with the Unison here. The pitch difference is noticeable enough that you don't get that thick sound. You get kind of like a thinnish, out of tune-ish sound that's not very good. If you go up to 3 or 4 voices though, let's see what that sounds like. And that's with the pitch variation set very high. Like if this was set all the way down here, listen. Okay, so like go back to 2 voices. Now go to 4 voices. You see what I'm talking about? Then go up to 9 voices. You can change the phase. You can change the pan. You can make it mono or really spread out. Unison's one of my favorite features of harmor, and I think that it is one of the more important things to focus on. Like I said, there's a lot of shit here that you can just avoid looking at for now, like vibrato, legato, all of this shit over here. Like oh shit, I just realized there are 2 oscillators. There's an A oscillator and a B oscillator. I was totally wrong. So you can actually have two sides of harmor, and you can copy parts like that and paste parts like this. So both parts are the same now. And you can slightly change one of the parts, like maybe make it like that, and then they'll layer together. So you have the completely out of tune, not completely out of tune, but you have the 9 voices that are slightly out of tune, and then you have the ones that are perfectly in tune. And let's do some filtering. Maybe I could set this up with like a different filter. Some of these are cool, like Hill low pass. And you can change the type of resonance. You can even draw your own resonance shapes in here, which is kind of cool. But that's more advanced shit. Now, beyond all of the stuff I just showed you, what you have here, you can avoid the image tab for now. You can drag samples into here and resample shit. It's awesome. But we're just talking synthesis here. FX is cool. Basically, you got a distortion, a chorus, a delay, and a reverb. You can change their order on the advanced tab by just hovering over them and mouse wheeling down. That's actually pretty important to memorize. I know I'm just kind of briefly mentioning it, but anyway, the effects tab are effects. Distortion with a filter on it. You know, if you want to get like distorted with it. I think that sounds awesome. When you mess with the asymmetry, it really adds these like artifacts that are just kind of crazy and realistic. Now, chorus. Already I'm getting into a position where shit is phase canceling other shit. Like, get rid of the unison, add a delay, add some reverb maybe. Let's add some reverb. Let's go back to unison. And let us actually go from this sound back to a plucky sound. No, it's... the fucking famous progression. Every single Hands of Techno song use this same exact progression. And it's 1, flat 6, flat 3, and flat 7. Whoa, what am I doing right now? I kind of like that. And the moon and Charlie baby so high. Anyway, besides from that, other really awesome things to do in Harmor are to go to pitch, which is down here, and I'm really thankful that it has this little arrow right here. After you've changed the parameter, it shows you which one you've changed by putting a little arrow next to it. So I go to pitch, and instead of going to random mapping, I just go to envelope and do this. See, it's like... and then suddenly you're making more like PC music sounds. Like, pitch is really important to control. You can also configure it manually in Harmor by like doing this. Reset, and then you've got main pitch that you can automate on the actual composition screen or arrangement view or whatever it is. But yeah. And then you just kind of fuck around. Maybe I don't want the distortion. Pluck is awesome. Pluck is really awesome. Like, it's so simple, but check this out. And with a filter, see, pluck is completely different from a filter. Anyway, I really hope that this recorded properly. I didn't put any effort into that aspect of this, but like, yeah, how long has this been? 23 minutes. I hope that was helpful.